Hi dear students, good morning. Welcome back to our history class. Today we are going to the next chapter 9, The Making of the National Movement 1870 to 1947. This is a very important chapter. The period between 1919 to 1947 is of special significance in the history of Indian freedom struggle. What were the effects of British rule before freedom movement started? Can you say? So, we have already learned in the previous chapters. Okay. The effects of British rule before freedom movement started are the following. Okay. The British conquest of territories and takeover of kingdoms. Then they have introduction of new laws and administrative institutions. Then changes happened in the lives of peasants and tribals. Educational changes in the 19th century. Modern education was introduced. Okay. Then debates regarding the condition of women. Women education, abolition of sati, etc. Okay. Then challenges to the caste system. Then social and religious reform by the social reformers. Okay. The revolt of 1857 and its aftermath. Last, the decline of crafts and growth of industries. The revolt of 1857 brought India under the rule of the British Crown. Okay. This revolt increased the feeling of patriotism in the people of India. They also started developing feeling belonging to the nation, sharing of culture, history and common goals for the future. Causes for rise of nationalism. Okay. In this chapter, we are going to study the following concepts. First one, the emergence of nationalism. A nation in the making. Freedom is our birthright. The growth of mass nationalism. Next, the advent of Mahatma Gandhi. Then, the Rowlatt Satyagraha, Rowlatt Act. Khilafat agitation and non-cooperation movement. The People's Mahatma. Then, the happenings of 1922-1929. The March to Dandi March. Quit India and later Quit India movement. Then last one, towards independence and partition. Now, let us discuss the emergence of nationalism. What is this country of India and for whom is it meant? Answer that. India was the people of India, all the people irrespective of class, color, caste, creed, language or gender. Its resources, any systems were meant for all of them. With this answer came the awareness that the British were exercising control over the resources of India and the lives of its people, and until this control was ended, India could not be for Indians. That means the Indian National Congress wished to speak for all the people of India, irrespective of class, color, caste, creed, language or gender. It declared that India, its resources, any systems belonged to all of India in communities, not just one class or community. Okay. The political associations formed after 1850, especially those that came into being in the 1870s and 1880s. Okay. The most important associations were the Pune Sarvajanik Sabha, the Indian Association, the Madras Mahajan Sabha, the Bombay Presidency Association, and the Indian National Congress. Okay. Pune Sarvajanik Sabha. That means for all the people or of the people. These associations functioned in specific parts of the country. Their goals were stated as the goals of all the people of India. They worked with the idea that the people should be sovereign. That means They believed that the Indian people should be empowered or supreme in power, okay, to take decisions regarding their affairs. Pune Sarvajanik Sabha was a socio-political organization in British India, which started with the aim of working as a mediating body between the government and people of India to popularize the peasants' legal rights. Understand? The dissatisfaction with British rule intensified in the 1870s and 1880s. Why? Why were people dissatisfied with the British rule in the 1870s and 1880s? Some causes behind this dissatisfaction. The Arms Act was passed in 1878, disallowing Indians from possessing arms. That means, Arms Act said that no Indian would be allowed to possess any kind of arms. Understand? Next, the Vernacular Press Act. Vernacular Press Act was also enacted in an effort to silence those who were critical of the government. The act allowed the government to confiscate the assets of newspapers, including their printing presses, if the newspapers published anything that was found objectionable. Okay, that means any objectionable that content against the British government. Understand? In 1883, the Hilbert Bill passed. Hilbert Bill proposed by Lord Lytton. The bill provided for the trial of British or European persons by Indians and sought equality between British and Indian judges in the country. Okay? But when white opposition forced the government to withdraw the bill, Indians were enraged. The event highlighted the racial attitudes of the British in India. That means the bill sought equality between British Indian judges in the country. Okay. Britishers opposed the bill, forced the government to withdraw it. Understand? The Indian National Congress was established when 72 delegates from all over the country met at Bombay in December 1885. Okay. Indian National Congress was founded in 1885. Who is the founder of Indian National Congress? A.O. Hume. Okay. The early leadership, Dadabhai Naoroji, Firoz Shah Mehta, Badruddin Tyabji, W.C. Banerjee, Surendranath Banerjee, Ramesh Chandra Dutt, S. Subramanya Iyer, among others, was largely from Bombay and Calcutta. Okay. Dadabhai Naoroji was a businessman and publicist settled in London and for a time member of the British Parliament, guided the younger nationalists. Okay. He was a businessman and someone who publishes an idea by circulating information, writing reports, speaking at meetings, etc. Okay. He was grand old man of India. He wrote book Poverty and Un-British Rule in India. A retired British official who A.O. Hume also played a part in bringing Indians from the various regions together. Okay. A.O. Hume was a founder of Indian National Congress. Who did the Congress seek to speak for? The first Indian National Congress at Mumbai. Badruddin Tyabji addressed the Congress as president in 1887. This Congress is composed of the representatives not of any one class or community of India, but of all the different communities of India. Okay. Who did the Indian National Congress wish to speak for? Who? Yes. Then the Indian National Congress wished to speak for all the people of India, irrespective of class, color, caste, creed, language or gender. Understand? Next, a nation in the making. A nation in the making. It has often been said that the Congress in the first 20 years was moderate in its objectives and methods. Congress divided into two groups, moderate groups and extremist groups. Okay. The early phase of the Indian National Congress was moderate. Then, moderate groups in its objective and methods. Who were the moderate leaders? Can you say who were the moderate leaders? Yes, Dadabhai Naoroji, Firoz Shah Mehta, Badruddin Diabji, W.C. Banerjee, Surendranath Banerjee, Ramesh Chandradutt, S. Subramanya Iyer. Okay. How did moderates purpose struggle against the British rule? Okay. During this period, it demanded a greater voice for Indians in the government and in administration. The legislative councils to be made more representative. It demanded that Indians be placed in high positions in the government. Okay. The demand for Indianization of the administration was part of a movement against racism. That means discrimination by community. Other demands included the separation of the judiciary from the executive, the repeal of the Arms Act, and the freedom of speech and expression. Repeal of the Arms Act means put an end to the validity of the law, that is cancelled of the Arms Act, and the freedom of speech and expression. Okay. The early Congress moderates also raised a number of economic issues to declare that British rule had led to poverty and famines. How? Congress demand reduction of revenue, cut in military expenditure, and more funds for irrigation. Okay. All this shows that despite being a body of the educated elite, the Congress did not talk only on behalf of professional groups, semindars or industrialists. That means, despite being a body of the educated group of privileged people in a society, understand, that society, the Congress did not talk only on behalf of professional groups, semindars or industrialists. Understand? Moderate leaders wanted to develop public awareness about the unjust nature of British rule. They published newspapers, wrote articles, and showed how British rule was leading to the economic ruin of the country. They criticized British rule in their speeches and sent representatives to different parts of the country. They felt that the British had respect for the ideals of freedom and justice, and so they would accept the just demands of Indians. Freedom is our birthright. By the 1890s, many Indians began to raise questions about the political style of the Congress. We know that INC divided into two groups, moderate groups and extremist groups. Okay. In Bengal, Maharashtra and Punjab, leaders such as Bipin Chandra Pal, Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Lala Lajpat Rai were beginning to explore more radical objectives and methods. Okay. They were extremist groups leaders. Understand? Lal, Pal, Bal. Bipin Chandra Pal, Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Lala Lajpat Rai. Okay. They criticized the moderates for their politics of prayers and emphasized the importance of self-reliance and constructive work. They argued that people must rely on their own strength, understand, not on the good intentions of the government. People must fight for Swaraj. Bal Gangadhar Tilak raised the slogan. We already know that. Bal Gangadhar's slogan. What? Freedom is my birthright and I shall have it. Okay. Once again, freedom is my birthright and I shall have it. Okay. He started a newspaper named what? Kesari, which was very critical of the British. Okay. In 1905, Viceroy Curzon partitioned Bengal. Okay, we know that partition of Bengal. In which year? In 1905. At that time, Bengal was the biggest province of British India and included Bihar and parts of Orissa. Okay, the British argued for dividing Bengal for reasons of administrative convenience. Okay, but what did administrative convenience mean? Whose convenience did it represent? Yes, it was closely tied to the interests of British officials and businessmen. Okay, British officials and businessmen. Even so, instead of removing the non-Bengali areas from the province, the government separated East Bengal and merged it with Assam. Other side. Okay. Perhaps the main British motives were to curtail the influence of Bengali politicians and to split the Bengali people. The partition of Bengal infuriated people all over India. Okay, all sections of the Congress, that is then moderates and the radicals as they may be called, opposed it. Okay, listen. Main reason for partition of Bengal. What? British gives reason of administrative convenience. The main motive of British is to curtail the influence of Bengal politician, to split the Bengal people, to divide Hindu and Muslim. Okay. The struggle that unfolded came to be known as the Sadeshi Moment. Okay. Called for Sadeshi goods. Okay. Strongest in Bengal but with egos elsewhere. Too in Delta Andhra, for instance, it was known as the Vande Mataram movement. Listen, thousands of people joined the demonstrations during the Sadeshi movement. Okay, we know that call for Sadeshi goods. Men, women and children boycotted foreign goods. Okay. They pledged to use only Indian or Sadeshi goods. Understand? Dear students, today we will wind up the class. So, you must read the lesson carefully. Thank you.